So you want to be an Aerospace Engineering Drafter.
It's a cool game.
We're diving deep into this world. Aero prints, CAD software.
The whole shebang.
You're turning those,
Yeah.
like those crazy engineering dreams into actual, like, flying things.
It's pretty wild. Yeah.
It's more than just, like, lines on a page, right?
Right.
It's like, you are the bridge between this, like, mind-blowing concept and, like, a tangible, high-flying machine.
For sure.
Okay, so we've got our source material here. It seems like, acing that interview, that's, like, priority number one.
Oh, absolutely.
But before we get into, like, the really specific questions, I'm kind of curious, like, what does the typical career, like, trajectory look like for someone in this field?
So usually you start, as like an entry-level drafter, right? And you're assisting, more senior drafters, learning the ropes, getting familiar with the software, the standards, the whole 9 yards.
It's a lot to take in, I bet.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
But it's also, I imagine, like, where you build a really, really solid, like, foundation.
You got it. That's the time. That's when you really build that foundation. And then, as you get more experience, you move on to more, I guess, like, complex projects and maybe start leading a team, things like that.
It's like an apprenticeship almost, It's like you come in, you work alongside the experts, you learn the craft, and then you gradually take on, like, more and more responsibility.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so speaking of responsibility, one of the key things that, interviewers are going to want to know is how you handle those, like, tricky, like, technical questions.
Yeah, the technical stuff, for sure.
So, for example, one question you're bound to get is, like, tell us about your experience using CAD software.
Right.
That seems like a pretty straightforward one at first.
Okay.
It's like you just list off all the software you're familiar with, right?
Not quite.
Okay.
Not quite. It's not just about, rattling off names, right? They want to see that you know how to use those tools effectively, Think back to a project where your CAD skills were really, put to the test.
Okay, right.
Did you solve, like, a complex design challenge, or maybe you figured out a way to streamline a process, make it, like, faster, more efficient, something like that.
So it's about showcasing your problem-solving skills within the context of, like, that CAD software.
Exactly. Show them how you use the tools to solve a real problem.
And this is where, a tool like RoleCatcher can be a game changer.
For sure.
Because their AI analyzes job descriptions.
Yeah.
And it helps you tailor your answers to highlight the specific skills they're looking for.
It's like having, a little career coach in your pocket.
That's incredible.
Right.
So it's not just about, like, what you know.
Yeah, right.
It's how you articulate it.
Exactly.
To demonstrate, like, your value to a potential employer.
Totally.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And that brings us to another crucial question you'll likely encounter, which is, can you explain your experience working with a team?
Teamwork.
Right.
Very important.
Teamwork, essential in any field, but I feel like especially in aerospace engineering.
Absolutely.
Where you've got these, like, incredibly complex projects.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're working with,
large teams of engineers, drafters, all these different specialists.
Yeah. So when you answer this question, it's not enough to just be like, oh, yeah, I'm a team player.
Right, exactly.
Like, you got to give them a concrete example of a time you collaborated effectively on a challenging project.
Absolutely. A project you're proud of.
Right. And, like, walk them through.
Yeah.
Like, walk them through the project.
For sure.
Highlight your specific role.
Yes.
The challenges you faced as a team.
Right.
And, like, how you overcame those.
Yeah. How'd you work together?
Yeah, how did you work together?
To overcome those challenges.
Well,
was your contribution.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and what was the outcome?
Exactly. What was the outcome? Did you meet the deadline?
Did you,
Did you exceed expectations?
Right.
What happened?
Yeah.
Let them see how your contribution led to a successful outcome.
Exactly.
This is where, like, choosing the right project to discuss.
Oh, yeah. You got to think about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Becomes super crucial.
Absolutely.
You want to pick something that's relevant to aerospace engineering drafting.
Totally.
That showcases your understanding of the industry's unique demands.
Absolutely.
And here's a pro tip.
Okay.
Use RoleCatcher to practice your answer.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Makes sense.
Because their AI will analyze your response.
Yeah.
And it will provide feedback on how to make it even stronger.
It's great.
They might even suggest like specific details to include based on their job description.
Yeah.
That's incredibly helpful.
That's what it's there for.
Wow.
It's a great tool.
Okay, so we've talked about showcasing your CAD skills. We've talked about teamwork. What other like technical skills should candidates be prepared to discuss?
So another big one is 3D modeling.
Okay.
Right. A lot of these companies are going to be looking for that.
Right.
The interviewer might ask you, like, what experience do you have in creating 3D models?
Okay. Right.
And this is where you get to shine, right?
Okay.
If you've got experience with, software like SolidWorks or CATIA.
Right.
Any of those.
It's not just about saying, yes, I have used SolidWorks.
No.
Right.
You got to go a little deeper than that.
It's about going deeper. It's about highlighting specific projects where you've applied those skills.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Give them an example.
Did you create a particularly complex model?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you use your 3D modeling experience to identify like a potential design flaw?
Ooh, that's good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that.
No, those are the kinds of details that are going to make your answer stand out.
Exactly. Now, I'm curious, from your experience, what are some common mistakes?
Oh, that's a good question.
That candidates make when answering these technical questions.
Okay, well, one mistake I see a lot is focusing too much on the software itself.
Okay.
And not enough on the application.
Interesting.
Okay. They want to see how you've used your skills to solve real-world problems.
Right.
That's what they want to know.
That makes sense, yeah. It's not about,
It's not about being a software salesman.
Yeah, reciting the software manual, right?
Exactly. It's about, demonstrating your ability to use those tools.
Showing them what you can do.
Right. Effectively.
Yeah.
In a professional setting.
In a professional setting, exactly. And another mistake I see is being too general.
Okay.
Don't just say, I'm detail-oriented.
Right.
Okay. Give them a specific example of a time your attention to detail, save the day on a project.
Show, don't tell.
Exactly.
Right.
Show, don't tell.
It's all about backing up your claims with concrete evidence.
Exactly. You got it.
And you know what else can help you avoid these pitfalls?
What's that?
RoleCatcher.
There it is again.
Right.
It's a great tool.
Because their AI-powered feedback can point out areas where you might be too general.
Right.
Or where you could provide more specific examples.
Exactly.
It's like having a virtual interview coach.
Right.
Right.
It's like having someone in your corner.
Providing personalized guidance.
Oh, there you go.
That's invaluable.
It is invaluable. It's a great tool.
Okay, so we've covered some of the technical aspects. Right.
Let's
shift gears a little bit.
Shift gears a bit and talk about a question that often I think trips people up, which is
right.
Can you give an example of a challenging project you worked on?
Ooh. Right.
And how you overcame any obstacles.
So this is like the tell me about a time you failed question.
Yes.
But it's not really about that, though.
It's like the tell me about a time you failed question.
It's like that, yeah.
In disguise.
Right.
But it's not about, airing your dirty laundry. It's about demonstrating.
It's about how you problem solve.
Your problem-solving skills and your ability to
learn from your mistakes.
Learn from your experiences.
Exactly. It's all about learning from those experiences.
So how should candidates approach this question?
Yeah.
What are interviewers really looking for here?
They want to see how you handle challenges.
Okay. How you think critically and how you bounce back from setback.
Oh, okay.
So pick a project that was genuinely challenging, but one where you ultimately succeeded.
Right.
You don't want to pick a project where it was a complete and utter disaster.
It was like a dumpster fire.
Exactly.
Right. Pick a project that was challenging, but you
But you learned from it.
You learned from it.
And you succeeded.
And you came out on top.
Exactly.
And walk them through your thought process.
Yeah, your thought process.
What were the obstacles?
Right.
How did you
approach the problem?
Yeah. Did you have to get
creative? Did you have to, think outside the box?
Right.
Things like that. They want to see that.
And don't be afraid to admit if you made mistakes.
Yeah, everybody makes mistakes.
Along the way.
That's how you learn.
Right. What matters most is what you learned from those mistakes.
Right.
And how you
applied those lessons.
Yeah. To ultimately
to positive outcomes.
Achieve a positive outcome.
No, exactly.
That's such an important point, right?
It is.
It's not about being perfect.
No.
It's about demonstrating that resilience.
Yeah.
That willingness to.
You got to be willing to learn and grow. Exactly.
From those experiences.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is another area where RoleCatcher can be incredibly helpful.
Right. Because their AI can analyze your answer.
Okay.
And provide feedback on whether you've effectively conveyed your problem-solving skills.
Right. And your ability to learn from challenges.
Exactly.
It's like having a personal branding expert.
Helping you craft. The perfect
story
for your interview.
The perfect narrative. Exactly. It's a great tool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we've talked about challenges.
We've talked about challenges.
We've talked about learning from mistakes.
Using
RoleCatcher.
Yeah.
Speaking of challenges, let's talk about another question.
I like it.
That often comes up.
Okay.
In aerospace engineering, drafting interviews.
Okay. Hit me with it. Are you ready for this one?
I think so. Lay it on me. All right, get ready for this one. Can you explain your experience in aerospace design standards and regulations?
Ooh, that sounds intense.
It is.
It's not enough to be a great drafter. You got to know, the rules of the game.
You got to know the rules, exactly.
Right, because you're dealing with, aircraft and spacecraft.
Right.
These are machines that are held to, the absolute highest standards, right?
Absolutely. The highest safety standards, the highest performance standards.
So interviewers need to know that you understand those standards.
Inside and out.
Yeah. Right.
That's the key.
So it's not just about knowing how to use the CAD software.
Right.
It's about understanding,
the why.
The why.
Behind it.
Behind the designs, yeah.
Yeah.
And how those designs have to adhere to these. Strict guidelines.
Very, very strict guidelines, exactly.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So this is where you'd want to showcase, I imagine,
is it
your knowledge of industry standards.
Right, like the FAA.
Right.
Or even NASA.
Yeah. Have you worked on projects where
Right, have you specific regulations dictated the design choices.
That's what they want to know.
Right.
They want to see that you've actually applied this stuff.
It's one thing to memorize a bunch of regulations.
Yeah, you can memorize a whole book.
Right. But it's far more impactful.
Doesn't mean anything.
To share a concrete example.
You got to apply it.
Of how you've applied that.
That's it.
In a real world.
Real world experience. That's what they want.
Scenario.
100%.
Right.
Yep.
And
because it shows you're not just, memorizing rules.
Right.
You're actively thinking about how those rules translate into safe and effective designs.
It shows that you get it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
You understand.
You understand the why. Exactly.
The why. And here's where I'm reminded again of the power of RoleCatcher.
What can it do?
Right.
Right.
Imagine this.
You practice your answer.
Okay.
Their AI analyzes it and boom.
Love it.
It flags industry-specific keywords you might have missed.
Oh, that's huge.
Right.
Keywords are so important, especially in these technical fields.
Yeah, so even if you're a little nervous in the interview.
Sure,
right.
You get in there and your mind goes blank.
You're like, oh, shoot.
Yes.
RoleCatcher can almost act as your backup.
100%. It's like a little safety net.
Right.
Yeah.
Ensuring that you're hitting all the right notes.
Hitting the right notes.
Okay, so a great way to put it, yeah.
We've talked about regulations. We've talked about standards.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to another question.
Okay.
It kind of goes hand in hand with this.
Okay.
Which is, can you describe your experience
in
creating technical drawings
yes.
and schematics?
Love it.
This is where your CAD skills.
This is it?
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Take center stage.
Right.
Right.
It's
about transforming those like 3D models into these like detailed, accurate representations that other engineers, manufacturers can understand.
Yes, exactly. It's the main form of communication for the drafter.
Don't just mention the software.
Don't just say, I used AutoCAD.
Right. Talk about the types of drawing that you've created.
What have you done? Have you done assembly drawings?
Right.
Detailed part drawings? Schematics for electrical systems?
So it's about showcasing. Like,
exactly.
The breadth of your experience,
Of your technical drawing experience.
100%, yeah.
And how it aligns with, like, the specific.
And show them that you understand their needs.
Requirements of aerospace engineering.
That's it. Okay, and here's a little insider tip, right?
Okay, I like it.
If you've got any experience with GD&T, geometric dimensioning, and tolerancing, it's a mouthful.
I like that.
Yeah. If you know GD&T, make sure you talk about that.
Okay, GD&T, that sounds...
It's a big one.
A little intimidating.
Yeah, it's a little intimidating, but it's not that complicated.
Can you break it down for us?
Yeah, so basically...
Like, what is it?
Think of it this way. In aerospace, parts need to fit together perfectly.
Okay, right.
Often with incredibly tight tolerances.
Right. Like there's no...
You can't have a bolt that's...
room for error.
A millimeter too big, right?
Right.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
So GD&T is basically a system that uses symbols and numbers on drawings. To control those tolerances. To make sure that parts manufactured in different places. Even different countries.
Right.
Will all fit together flawlessly.
So it's all about communication.
It's like a universal language.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
For precision engineering.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Making sure that
everybody's on the same page.
Everyone's on the same page.
That's it.
No matter where they are in the world.
Exactly. That's
incredible.
A very powerful tool.
And having that knowledge.
Yes.
Being able to like speak GD&T.
Yes, exactly.
It's
especially in aerospace.
A much stronger candidate.
Where precision is paramount.
Right.
It's huge.
Especially for these roles in aerospace where like precision is non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable, that's it.
Right. Okay, so we've covered technical skills. We've covered standards. We've even covered this. Like
we went deep on GD&T.
This specialized language of GD&T.
Yeah.
What other
curveballs could they throw at you?
Yeah, what other curveballs do these interview questions have in store for us?
All right, so they might ask you about finite element analysis.
Okay.
FEA.
Now that one sounds...
Have you heard of this one?
Pretty hardcore.
Yeah, it's a little more on the technical side.
What exactly is that? So basically...
Why is it relevant?
It's all about...
aerospace engineering drafting.
It's all about making sure those incredible flying machines can handle the stress and strain of flight.
Okay.
Right. So FEA is a computerized method for predicting how a structure will react to real-world forces. Like vibration, heat, fluid flow.
So instead of like building a physical prototype.
Yeah, exactly.
And like testing it
till it breaks.
To its limits, yeah.
Exactly. You're doing it on a computer.
You're using software to simulate those conditions and see how the design holds up.
100%.
That's incredible.
It's very cool stuff.
And as a drafter,
yes,
you might be involved in creating the models.
Creating the model
that are used in these simulations.
Okay.
Or you might be tasked with interpreting the results of the FEA. And then making adjustments to the design drawings.
So even though it's based on those findings.
A very like technical analysis.
Yes.
Right.
A very powerful tool.
It directly ties back to the drafter's role. In creating
100%
accurate and reliable technical documentation.
It all goes back to the drawings.
It all goes back to the drawings.
So if you've got experience using FEA software, even if it was just during like a university project, mention it.
Mention it.
Because it shows you're thinking beyond the drawing board. You're considering the bigger picture.
It shows you get it.
How your work contributes to the overall design.
That's a great point.
And safety of aerospace systems.
It's not just about, like, drawing lines.
It's not just about the lines.
It's about understanding.
It's about the why.
How those lines.
It's about the bigger picture.
Translate into
real world
performance.
Performance and safety.
Safety, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of safety.
Okay.
That reminds me of another.
Okay, let's do it.
Crucial.
Hit me with it.
Aspect of aerospace engineering drafting.
Right.
Material selection.
Ah, yes.
Materials.
You can't just use any old,
just use,
metal or plastic.
Anything off the shelf.
When you're building something.
Especially in aerospace.
That's going to
think about performance.
Fly at.
Right.
Hundreds of miles an hour.
Hundreds of miles an hour, exactly.
Or
going to space.
The extreme conditions of space.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Totally.
So be prepared for a question.
Be ready for this one.
Can you describe your experience in selecting materials?
Yes. Love this question. For aerospace components.
Okay.
Now, this seems like it would require,
it does.
A deep understanding of,
it does, yeah.
Material science.
Material science. You got to know your materials.
What are they looking for here?
So they want to know if you understand the properties of different materials.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And how those properties relate to their suitability for specific aerospace applications.
So, for example,
yeah,
you might need to know why. Aluminum.
Yeah, good one.
Is a good choice for,
it's a classic.
The fuselage of an aircraft.
Yeah.
Because it's lightweight.
Lightweight.
Right.
Strong.
Corrosion resistant.
Corrosion resistant, exactly.
Right.
All important factors.
Or why titanium?
Ooh, there you go.
Even though it's more expensive.
More expensive, but worth it.
Is often used in, engine components.
Engine components, exactly.
Because of its incredible strength.
You got to have that strength to weight ratio. Can't be too heavy.
And its ability to,
It's all about the
performance
temperatures. Exactly. Got to be able to take the heat.
Right. And don't forget about composites.
Ooh, the composites.
Correct. Yes, yes.
Which are becoming,
in the future.
Increasingly important.
Huge in aerospace.
In aerospace design.
Yep.
Composites, just so we're clear. Yeah. Those are materials made up of.
They're made up of...
different components.
Different components, exactly.
Right.
Yep, what... Give me an example.
Fiber.
Carbon fiber, there you go.
Right.
The classic example.
Which is?
Lightweight, strong, getting cheaper.
Becoming more common.
Yes.
In aircraft structures.
Exactly.
Right.
100%. So if you have any experience...
If you know composites, talk about it.
Working with composite materials.
Yeah.
Even if it was just, a research project.
Doesn't matter. Talk about it.
Definitely.
It shows you're thinking ahead.
Mention it.
Thinking about the future.
This is where things get really,
This is where it gets really cool.
Interesting.
Because you're not just a drafter anymore.
You're not just a drafter.
You're becoming well-versed in the materials.
You're becoming, well-versed in
it. Make these incredible machines possible.
The materials that make this possible.
That's it.
This is so cool.
It is cool.
And this is where I think, a resource like RoleCatcher...
What can it do?
Can be so valuable.
I don't know. Tell me.
Because their AI can analyze those job descriptions and alert you to specific materials.
They can tell you what materials they use.
And are commonly used by that employer.
Exactly.
So if you have experience with those materials...
You can tailor those answers.
You can tailor your answers accordingly.
Exactly. It's a huge advantage.
It's like having,
it's a secret weapon. That's a great way to think about it.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit of an edge.
It's not really cheating.
No, not at all.
It's just
about being strategic.
Strategic, that's it. You're just using the tools available to you.
And showcasing your skills in a way that
100%
aligns with. Show them what you know.
What they need.
100%.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of strategic thinking.
That strategic thinking is what's going to...
will set you apart. 100%.
In the interview process.
For sure.
Okay, so...
So we've talked about materials. We've talked about FEA.
We've covered material.
Let's talk about GD&T.
We've covered FEA. We've covered GD&T.
Right.
It's clear that being an aerospace engineering drafter requires a very diverse skill set.
Diverse skill set.
You got to have a little bit of everything.
But let's not forget about the importance of showcasing
yes.
those softer skills.
Right.
The soft skills are just as important.
Things like communication.
Communication is huge.
Problem solving.
Problem solving, teamwork. For sure.
And luckily, a lot of the interview questions we've already discussed.
Yeah, they kind of naturally, they lend themselves to those soft skills.
Yeah.
Because when you're talking about, for example, how you overcame a challenge, you're demonstrating your problem-solving.
You're demonstrating how you work with a team.
Exactly, how you work with a team.
Right, demonstrating your communication.
Exactly, you got it.
Right.
So it's like a 2-for-1 deal.
There's one more question I want
to hit me with it.
Bring up.
Let's do it.
That really puts those skills front and center.
All right.
Are you ready for this one?
I think so. Lay it on me. All right. So get ready for this one. Can you explain your experience in creating test plans for aerospace components?
Test plans. So we're not just
drawing.
Creating the designs.
Yeah.
We're figuring out how to make sure
we're testing them, they
actually work.
It's all about making sure those things actually fly, right?
In the real world.
Exactly. You could have the most beautiful drawings in the world.
Right.
But if the thing falls apart in the air, it doesn't really matter.
Right. It's all for nothing.
Exactly. This is where you get to show them that you understand that testing is a critical part of aerospace engineering. It's not just about the design. It's about making sure that design works.
It's about being detail-oriented.
Detail-oriented, 100%.
And thinking.
Thinking at
several steps ahead.
Thinking about all the things that could go wrong.
Yeah, what kind of, tests are we even talking about here?
Oh, man, it runs the gamut.
Right?
You might be testing a component's strength.
Okay.
Literally subjecting it to extreme forces.
Wow.
Simulating, the stress of taking off.
Right.
Or turbulence. Right. Or maybe you're testing its resistance to, heat or cold.
Right. Especially for parts destined for,
Especially for space.
The depths of space.
100%.
So when answering this question, it's not enough to just be
you got to have more than that.
Oh, yeah. I know testing is important.
Yeah. No one's going to be impressed by that.
Right.
You got to show them what you know.
You got to, demonstrate.
Give them specific.
A deeper understanding of,
exactly
the types of tests that are relevant.
To aerospace, exactly.
To aerospace, and ideally, connect it.
100%.
Connect your experience.
It's always the key.
To specific projects.
Tell them a story,
Right. Did you ever, participate in creating a test plan, during an internship?
Yeah, internship, maybe university project, anything like that.
Or any university project.
For sure,
right.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't,
You don't have to have designed the test.
Designing the test yourself, talk about your involvement in the process.
Exactly. What did you do? Did you analyze test data?
Right.
Did you prepare reports?
Right.
Things like that.
Those are all valuable experiences.
It shows them that you understand the process.
That demonstrate you understand this, critical phase.
That's it.
It's all about connecting the dots for the interviewer.
Connecting the dots.
Showing them, you understand how...
Yeah, you got to connect the dots.
Each stage of that design and development process influences the next.
100%.
And I imagine RoleCatcher can provide...
Of course.
Valuable insights here.
RoleCatcher to the rescue again?
As well.
Right.
Yeah.
So what can it do?
Because their AI can,
get your back.
Analyze those job descriptions.
Yeah.
And highlight,
give some keywords.
Specific, tell you what to look for.
Testing procedures or standards that are commonly used.
They'll tell you exactly what this company uses.
By that employer, which is huge.
Having that knowledge beforehand.
Knowledge is power in these situations.
Allows you to really tailor.
It's like they're giving you the cheat codes.
Your answers.
Yeah.
A little bit, right.
It's talk about giving you a competitive edge.
Competitive edge, 100%.
Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground with these interview questions.
A lot of ground.
Beyond...
There's a lot to think about.
The technical skills and the interview prep, I think.
What else is there?
There's something to be said for having... a genuine passion for aerospace.
You gotta love it.
Right.
You gotta love planes. You gotta love space.
Because it's not just...
This is a field where people really geek out.
Any engineering field.
And it shows.
Right.
And the people who are passionate about it, they excel.
It's about...
They really do.
Pushing the boundaries.
Pushing the boundaries, exactly.
Of what's possible.
Of what's possible, 100%. That's what it's all about.
In flight, in space exploration, it's about that sense of wonder.
And that enthusiasm.
A little spark in your eye.
Yeah, that spark in your eye when you talk about aircraft.
Yeah.
When you talk about spacecraft.
They can feel it.
That can make all the difference in an interview.
You really can.
It shows that.
It shows you're not just there for a paycheck.
You're not just there for a job.
Yeah.
You're there because...
You're there because you want to, change the world.
You're genuinely do something cool.
Excited about the work, about...
Make your mark on history.
And possibility of, contributing to something truly groundbreaking.
Exactly.
And you know what? I think that kind of passion
is contagious.
It shines through.
100%.
Even in the way that you approach.
Yeah, if you're excited about it, it'll show.
Those technical questions.
If you'll...
Because when you're genuinely interested in something, you naturally, go deeper.
You want to learn more. Exactly.
Right.
And that shows you learn more, you
that depth of knowledge.
And that depth of knowledge.
It comes through in the interview.
Becomes evident in your answers.
100%.
So to all those aspiring aerospace engineering drafters out there.
Yeah, get out there.
Don't be afraid to.
Show them, yeah.
Let your passion shine through.
Exactly.
But also be prepared.
Be prepared 100%.
Right.
You got to do your homework.
Use those resources like RoleCatcher to your advantage.
RoleCatcher, it's your friend.
Practice those interview questions.
Practice.
Own your answers.
Yeah.
Showcase the best version of yourself.
The best version of you, that's what they want to see.
Never stop.
Never stop learning. The field is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
There's new stuff coming out all the time. New technologies, new challenges.
You
got to stay ahead of the curve.
Embrace that.
Embrace the learning process.
Constant learning process.
Exactly.
And
you will thrive in this career.
Thrive.
It's a great field to be in.
In this exciting.
And
rewarding career.
Rewarding, absolutely.
What an inspiring thought to.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
End on.
There you go. That's the spirit.
So there you have it.
That's a wrap.
Your deep dive.
Into the world of aerospace engineering drafting. We covered it all, folks.
We explored the career path.
We did. We tackled
those tough interview questions.
Those tricky interview questions.
Head on.
Uncovered some valuable resources.
Lots of great resources out there.
To help you succeed.
Take advantage of them.
Remember, it's a journey that requires both.
It's a journey, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Technical expertise.
You got to be in it for the long haul.
And a genuine passion.
Passion is key.
For pushing the boundaries.
Pushing the boundaries, that's it, of what's possible in the skies and beyond.
Couldn't have said it better myself.